nanalo ng Family Feud ng Team Hazel ng 200,000 pesos.
Family Feud, 5:40 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
Nagmamano pa.
That's okay.
At 9 a.m. yesterday.
This is DW News, and these are our top stories. Human rights groups say many hundreds of people have been confirmed killed in Iran in a government crackdown on the largest protest movement in several years. Iran blames the bloodshed on foreign interference, with the nationwide demonstrations now into their third week. The White House says airstrikes on Iran remain on the table as US President Donald Trump weighs up his response to the crackdown. NATO Chief Mark Rutte says the alliance is working on ways to strengthen Arctic security as Europe scrambles to respond to US interest in Greenland. President Trump says having control of the island is a matter of national security. Greenland is a self-governing territory of NATO member Denmark. The crew of the International Space Station has held a change of command ceremony. NASA astronaut Mike Fink handed control of the expedition to Russian cosmonaut Sergei Kuznetsov. NASA says its four-member team will return early from the station on Wednesday due to the health concerns of an as-of-yet unnamed astronaut. This is DW News from Berlin. There's more news on our website, dw.com.
U.S. at 7:16 p.m. yesterday.
Hi, I'm Kim Vanel in Wanganui, New Zealand. It's Monday, January 12th. Today, Jerome Powell says he's being threatened with a criminal indictment. Trump mulls options for intervening in Iran as the death toll from protests there rises. Homeland Security orders more officers into Minneapolis. And stars hit the red carpet for this year's Golden Globes. This is Reuters World News, bringing you everything you need to know from the front lines in 10 minutes, 7 days a week. We start with a significant escalation in US President Donald Trump's push for more control of the Federal Reserve and of interest rates. Fed Chair Jerome Powell says US federal prosecutors have opened an inquiry into him and are threatening him with a criminal indictment about a building renovation project. But in a video message, Powell says that's a pretext.
The threat of criminal charges is a consequence of the Federal Reserve setting interest rates based on our best assessment of what will serve the public, rather than following the preferences of the president.
Fed reporter Howard Schneider has more on Powell's response.
He is saying flat out that he regards this as an effort by the administration to use the Justice Department, to use the threat of a criminal indictment, to put pressure on him because he's not doing what the president wants on interest rates, which is a pretty remarkable kind of outing of Powell's view in his heart of hearts about this whole thing. That hasn't happened yet. He's been very kind of distanced himself from it and tried to not kind of take the bait, if you will, and get into a shouting match with the president of the United States. But I guess the arrival of grand jury subpoenas and the threat of a criminal indictment has made him speak out.
Howard says the blowback has been swift. Powell's term as Fed chair ends in 3 months, and his replacement, while chosen by Trump, must be approved by the Senate Banking Committee. One of the key people to agree on the replacement is Republican Senator Thom Tillis, who is now speaking out.
Tillis has said in a very quick statement, it's not Powell's judgment that should be in question here. it's the Department of Justice. Nominee, including for Fed chair, until this gets resolved. Because there's no secret in my mind now that Donald Trump is trying to destroy the independence of the Federal Reserve.
And to hear how markets are reacting to the news, here's Mike Dolan from our sister Markets podcast, Morning Bit.
Hi, Kim. Yeah, the Powell news is the big breaking story for markets this morning. The dollar is the focus. It's fallen against the euro and other major currencies on this. US stock futures are also down, having closed the Friday at record highs, it has to be said. And treasuries, it's hard to gauge. Tokyo markets closed overnight, so we're only getting cash trading running up into the US Open, and that will be a major focal point, even though there are two big debt options today to complicate matters.
Thanks, Mike. You can hear Morning Bid wherever you get your podcasts. President Trump says he's reviewing options to intervene in Iran and isn't ruling out using the military.
Seriously, the military is looking at it, and we're looking at some very strong options. We'll make it.
It's the starkest signal yet that the US may act as the death toll from anti-regime protests in Iran continues to rise. A warning, some of the details of what's happening in Iran are disturbing. In Tehran, bodies line the streets outside a morgue. Families and friends gather to identify their loved ones. Nearby, people in hazmat suits load bodies onto a truck. The bystander footage was released on Sunday, and although Reuters was able to verify the location it was shot, we could not verify the date. Protests have swept the country, with people angry over sky-high inflation, a collapsing currency, and social and political repression. It's the biggest challenge to the Islamic Republic's clerical establishment since 2022. Trump's taught Iranian demonstrators. In London, people gathered outside Downing Street and the Iranian embassy too, waving Iranian flags. In Paris, people burned images of Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. One other bit of Trump news. The president says he might block Exxon from investing in Venezuela after the oil major's CEO called the country uninvestable. Trump has urged key oil execs to spend $100 billion on revitalizing Venezuela's oil industry in a high-profile meeting less than a week after U.S. forces captured and removed Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro from power. On his Truth Social account, Trump posted a picture of himself, as if from a Wikipedia page, where he's given the title of Acting President of Venezuela. In Minneapolis, dozens of activists protest the presence of immigration and customs enforcement agents outside a federal building, days after the fatal shooting of 37-year-old woman Renee Good, who was killed by an ICE agent on Wednesday. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says hundreds more officers are being sent to Minneapolis to protect ICE agents and Border Patrol officers there. 2,000 extra officers have already been dispatched in what the agency is calling its largest operation ever. To Hollywood now for some surprise winners and losers in the 83rd Annual Golden Globes, an award ceremony seen as a teaser before the film industry's top honors, the Academy Awards, in March. Lisa Richwine has more.
One battle after another was the big winner. It won 4 awards, including Best Movie, Musical, or Comedy. It's a dark comedy starring Leonardo DiCaprio. Leo did not win, however. He lost out to Timothée Chalamet, who won Best Actor in a movie, musical, or comedy for Marty Supreme, where he plays a professional table tennis player. The Globes split the film awards into 2 categories, Best Musical or Comedy and Best Drama. The Best Drama film was Hamnet, which is a story about William Shakespeare and his wife and how they deal with the death of their son, who was named Hamnet. It is believed that experience inspired Shakespeare to write the famous play Hamlet. Nikki Glaser was the host, and she pretty much steered clear of politics, as did most of the stars. There are a few comments here and there, but not the heavy political jabs at President Trump that you sometimes see from a Hollywood crowd. Nikki Glazer really just stuck to making fun of the stars in the audience, George Clooney, Leo, Dwayne Johnson. She had some polite jabs at them, nothing too biting.
And today's recommended read, a landmark case accusing Myanmar of committing genocide against minority Muslim Rohingya, opens at the UN's International Court of Justice today. There's a link to that story in the description. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast player. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.